It's Monday, 7 October. Welcome to the PDB Afternoon Bulletin. I'm Mike Baker, your eyes and ears on the world stage. All right, let's get briefed. First, we'll have the latest out of the Middle East as Israel expands ground operations in Lebanon. Hezbollah escalates their rocket attacks on Israeli cities, and speculations mount over the fate of the potential successor to slain Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah. Then, Russian President Putin's so-called merchant of death, there's a catchy name, is getting back into the arms trade, brokering a weapons deal with the Iranian-backed Houthi militants in Yemen. But first, our afternoon spotlight. I want to begin with an update on Israel's operations in Lebanon, as speculation swirls over the fate of the potential successor to deceased Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah following a heavy airstrike in Beirut just late last week. A spokesman for the Israeli government said Monday that they still can't confirm whether Hashem Safieddine, the late Hezbollah leader's cousin, was killed in the strike last Thursday night, which leveled Hezbollah's intelligence headquarters in a Beirut suburb known as a stronghold for the Iranian-backed group. He was reportedly attending a meeting with other senior Hezbollah leaders in an underground bunker, including the terror group's chief of intelligence, at the time of the strikes. Despite the lack of confirmation, it appears likely that Safieddine was killed in the bombardment. A Lebanese security source told reporters on Saturday that Safieddine has been out of contact since Friday. While Hezbollah has not directly commented on his fate, an official with the group complained to Reuters on Sunday that Israeli forces were obstructing search and rescue efforts at the site of the strikes. His death would be another blow, obviously, to Hezbollah's leadership ranks, which have been decimated by Israel over the past several weeks. Safieddine was seen as Nasrallah's natural successor due to his senior position and his status as a Shia Islamist cleric. Now, if he is indeed dead, the group will have an even smaller pool of remaining candidates to choose from. For now, representatives for the terror outfit say they're relying on a joint command structure. Analysts say that the group is likely reticent to name a new leader out of fear that he'll be subsequently targeted and killed, dealing obviously further embarrassment and lowering morale among their fighters. To be fair, there may not be that many folks vying for the job under their current circumstances. As the search for Safieddine continues, Israel further expanded operations in Lebanon on Saturday, striking in the northern city of Tripoli for the first time. IDF forces first launched their ground incursion last Tuesday, which is aimed at degrading Hezbollah infrastructure being used to target Israeli citizens. Despite the damage done by Israel, Hezbollah continues to mount rocket attacks targeting their cities. Israel's third-largest city, Haifa, came under rocket attack on Monday for the first time in the conflict, along with the nearby city of Tiberias. While interceptors were fired, authorities confirmed localized damage and reported 10 injuries across the two cities. Israel quickly responded with an airstrike in Beirut, targeting another site belonging to Hezbollah's intelligence unit. On Monday, the IDF also announced that a third division had been deployed into southern Lebanon to join two other divisions already on the ground, expanding their total operating force inside Lebanon to roughly 10,000. That's according to a report from the Times of Israel. And the IDF said Monday that two reservists serving on the northern border were killed in a mortar attack. Since ground operations began last Tuesday, the IDF has lost 11 soldiers. And as of Friday, Israel said more than 250 Hezbollah fighters had been killed. All right, coming up, Russian President Putin's so-called merchant of death is getting back into the arms trade, brokering a weapons deal with the Iranian-backed Houthi militants in Yemen. I'll be right back. Hey, Mike Baker here. You know, every day we hear about surveillance and how our right to privacy is being infringed upon. And it's true, right? You know what I'm talking about. It feels like we're living in a world where nothing is truly private anymore. And you know why? It's because nothing really is truly private anymore. I mean, most of us, for the sake of convenience, fair enough, right? We hand over our personal information without a second thought on a daily basis. I mean, we're signing up for services, you're shopping online, using social media, and I know you're out there using social media. Well, but this convenience, it comes at a cost. Now, it's time for us to take a stand and fight back for our right to privacy. One tool that's been essential for me in this fight is the all-in-one privacy app called MySudo. That's MySudo, MySudo. It's an app that lets you create multiple digital identities with separate phone numbers and emails so you can keep your personal information private. In this age of constant surveillance, having MySudo is crucial. Now, for my listeners, I've got a special deal. Go to mysudo.com/Mike Baker and use code, wait for it, Mike Baker. I bet you didn't see that coming, to get 30 days free on a Sudo Pro yearly subscription. Take back your privacy. Take it back with MySudo. Trust me, it's worth it. Welcome back to the Afternoon Bulletin. All right, Viktor Bout. You remember him? He's the notorious Russian arms dealer known as the Merchant of Death. Well, he's reportedly back in action. There's a shock. This time brokering a deal with Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi terrorists. And that's just 2 years after walking free from a U.S. prison in a high-stakes trade for WNBA player Brittany Griner. Bout spent decades trafficking Soviet-made weapons to war zones across Africa, the Middle East, and South America. His criminal empire crumbled in 2008 when U.S. drug enforcement agents captured him in a sting operation, and he was convicted of attempting to sell weapons to Colombian rebels with the intent to kill Americans. After serving 12 years of his 25-year sentence, Bout was released in December of 2022 in a prisoner exchange for Griner. Now, I'm surprised, frankly, I'm sure you're surprised as well, that he wasn't rehabilitated as a result of his time in prison. Isn't that how it works? Since his release, Bout has made a foray into Russian politics, joining a far-right pro-Kremlin party and winning a local assembly seat in 2023. Yet a Wall Street Journal exclusive suggests that Bout's pivot to politics has not ended his ties to the arms trade. In August 2023, two Houthi emissaries negotiating the purchase of $10 million in automatic weapons met with a familiar face in Moscow. That would be Viktor Bout. According to a European security official, the arms deal, though not yet completed, includes shipments of AK-74 rifles. Now, that's an upgraded version of the AK-47, and that would be to Yemen, where the Houthis have been actively engaged, of course, in attacks on international shipping and missile strikes on Israel. Now, the weapons could arrive in Yemen as early as this month, smuggled into the country under the cover of food shipments at the port of Hodeidah, where Russia has previously delivered grain. Despite reports of Bout's involvement, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov, let's see what he has to say, he denies Bout's involvement, calling them, quote, fake news and, quote, an information attack. He probably means a disinformation attack on Russian representatives. Well, if anyone would recognize an information or disinformation attack, it would be those cats at the Kremlin. Bout, when questioned by Russian state-owned news agency TASS, well, he labeled the accusations as, quote, unsubstantiated, but notably did not deny re-entering the arms trade. The Biden administration has expressed concerns over Bout's potential resurgence in the arms trade, particularly regarding his growing ties to Iran's proxies in the Middle East. While the arms shipments under discussion are relatively modest, U.S. officials are wary that this deal could serve as a precursor to more advanced weapons transfers. As Bout's potential role in this deal unfolds, the National Security Council, well, they remain tight-lipped. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, who acknowledged the risks of Bout's release during the Griner prisoner exchange, that was nice of him, noted, quote, we believe we can manage those challenges, but will remain constantly vigilant against any threat that Viktor Bout may pose to Americans, end quote. Seriously? So you release the Merchant of Death, and then you mumble something about managing those challenges that his release could create. We're right on top of that one. And that, my friends, is the PDB Afternoon Bulletin for Monday, 7 October. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me at pdb@thefirsttv.com. And now, of course, as you may well have heard, to listen to the show ad-free, should you be interested in an ad-free experience, well, become a premium member of the President's Daily Brief simply by visiting pdbpremium.com. It's really very simple. I'm Mike Baker, and I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, stay informed, stay safe, stay cool.